Hey guys, I'm Alexandria Dennison or That Beachy Photographer on Instagram, and today we are going to go through my entire editing process since going on the Irene Rudnyk and Anita Sadowska's Bali workshop. And so the first thing I always do is I start with removing the chromatic aberration and enable profile corrections. I'm going to show you real quick what the profile corrections does. You can see that it takes away the raw vignetting of the images, and then the next thing I do is sharpen the images just because I personally like how it looks. And then you can see kind of, I like the details that it brings out, the textures. I just like that. Um, Anyways, so the next thing that we're gonna do, well, sometimes I use either denoise, raw details, or super resolution. Usually, when you do denoise, it does raw details, and when you do super resolution, same thing, it usually does raw details as well, I think. If I remember correctly, let's see. Yes. Um, so I just wanted to show you guys also like what pops up here. And it's just saying that when I do XYZ, it also does the raw details. So that's interesting. So now I am going to mess with the lighting a little bit. Usually I bring down the highlights and whites a lot just to kind of neutralize and balance out the lighting of the images. For this one, I'm just going to do the whites. And then the next thing I like to do is do the profile, which is kind of like color grading. I think it just brings a lot more roundness, color, body to the images. I actually learned this in Irene Rudnyk and Anita Sadowska's Bali trip that I went on, their photography workshop. So this has been a game changer. I like how cinematic I can make things look. I really like this camera landscape one. Another one I've been liking lately is the artistic number 5. It just looks really cool and vintagey, but I like the cinematic vibes of the other one. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick with that one for now. And then I'm going to, I think, mess with the lighting a little bit more. I want to brighten it. I do like images that are brighter. I want to see the the details, but I'm gonna mask out the background and make the background a little darker. Um, I think because I do want, for one, the model to stand out, and for two, I want there to be a lot of depth in the image, and for three, I don't want the entire image to be that bright. I'm also going to bring up the highlights because I want the waterfall in the background to stand out a little bit more, because this is such a unique feature and I want that to be like a secondary thing. And because she's right in front of it, I think it matches. The next thing I want to walk you guys through is the color grading. Right now I'm doing the low lights, and I'm gonna do them kind of more dramatic so you can see what I'm talking about. And the color grading this way is kind of fun for me because you can be a little bit more creative. If you look at the background for the low light, for the shadows, for this image in particular, I feel like it shows a lot. Usually I try to go either on the blues or oranges for my shadows. For this one, I'm going to kind of stick to the blue hues, but you can see it changing even with like the less amount here. Um, And yeah, I just wanted to show you guys how this kind of works. Like I said, I like to keep my shadows cooler for the most part. And then for my midtones, I usually like to go for oranges. But again, you can see if you watch her skin tone, you can see the difference a lot in her skin tone for the midtones in this one. It's not always like that. Sometimes the skin tones don't change as much, but this was a good one for that. And then the highlights, if you look back at the water, like where the water is white, that's where you will see a lot of the changes here. I like to either do blue highlights or yellow highlights personally. That's just my preference, and I feel like that's like what natural light emulates. So I'm gonna do kind of like orangey close to yellow, and here's the progress so far. I'm really loving it. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to play around with the color. I'm gonna make the background a little cooler. You can see how warm it looks and how it looks colder. I'm gonna make it colder because I want to warm up the entire image, but I do want the background to be a little cooler than my model Jade, because I want it to again make more depth and stand out. And I want it to be like she's in a ray of warm light. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of the vibes. But yeah, you can see the difference. And then um, this is also another trick I like to do sometimes. I'm going to see how it looks. I don't know if I'm going to keep it, but sometimes I like to make like where there's a big portion of like highlights to make warm them up to make them feel a little bit more magical. But I really like the haziness of this photo, and I feel like the warmth takes away from that in a way, so I don't think I'm gonna um, do this mask, but that is one thing that I often do. So I wanted to show you guys that little trick, and then also like the exposure, playing with that types of things. So I play around with masking a lot. I think it's really fun. I think it can make things look really interesting. And I'm messing with the background too, seeing like if I actually like it. But I do. I really like this background. Okay. On Mac, I'm going to go ahead and press Command E, that's for Command Edit, and that's to open up this image in Photoshop. The colors and lighting are going to look different in Photoshop because you are working with the original image, and that when you go back into Lightroom, it'll have the changes you made from Photoshop laid over the new, like laid over the edited image. So you don't really have to worry about losing your image edits or whatever just because you went to Photoshop. I know it will look different usually when you open it. The first thing I'm going to do is make a duplicate of the background no matter what I do, just because I want to be able to easily delete the I want to be able to easily delete any changes I've made. I'm just going through and looking to see if there's anything I should remove first. This particular image, I don't need to remove a lot of things. I really like how hazy her hair looks in this. I think it looks natural, so I'm gonna leave the like haziness around her hair because I personally really like it for this particular image. And again, just going down and looking to see if there's anything I need to take out. Usually at this time, after I've retouched the skin a little bit, which again, this time it didn't, I'm going to do dodge and burn to pull out some of those highlights, maybe make her look a little wetter, maybe to amplify things that I want to amplify, because usually like for breasts and stuff, as you can see here, it just gives them a little bit more oomph without actually making them larger. So I like to put highlights on the highlighted parts of breasts. I just think it looks really nice. especially for like swimwear and stuff like that. Putting highlights where they belong, essentially. Um, and I'm just kind of like evaluating overall, like what I want to do because I want to expand this image. I go to the crop tool and I'm going to expand it out, and there's going to be a white box that appears. I'm doing this for balance. So, done. And then I don't know why this is taking so long right now. Oh my goodness. The next thing I'm going to do is the rectangular marquee tool at the top. And then I'm going to get as close to the model as possible. Select, right click, free transform, right click again, and distort. And then I'm going to be able to pull out the image. You can see it warping kind of. Um, I'm not going to do it this much. I just wanted to show you if you go too far, it won't look good. So there's the start. And then I'm checking out how far I want to go, about halfway. So then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use that same tool, overlap it a little bit, and do generative fill. I don't like to use this tool as much, so I try to get it the crop correct in camera, but sometimes in the moment you don't always think about it. You're excited, it's a great image, and then you think about the cropping later. Um, and then I try to use that like select marquee tool or whatever to kind of do that. Anyways, I'm gonna look at some of the options here and see what I like. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of these, so I'm gonna do this again and see kind of what I'm feeling. See which one is best. Sorry guys, that's okay. Now that it's generated a few, I'm gonna go back through and see if I really like any of them. You can see it's not always the best. I'm kind of liking 6 and I'm kind of liking 3, I think. 3 is good and 6 is good. I guess 1 really isn't that bad, but I kind of like 3 and 6 the best. One more time and then I have to choose, I think. Okay. I think I like that selection, so I'm gonna go ahead and merge it down so you guys can see the difference here. Okay, I'm pretty satisfied with how that turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and exit, save it of course, because otherwise it won't open back up in Lightroom and all that work would have gone to waste. So be sure to always hit save. And this is taking longer than usual, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Okay, that's basically my new process. I'm going to show you, this is the before the Photoshop. Before and after, but after, before, after. You can see how it expanded. I think that it centers her a little bit more. I may have gone over a little. I might adjust it again. But this is my new process. I hope that you guys enjoyed learning, watching, or that you even learned something. Anyways, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and go ahead and give me a follow on Instagram at thatbgphotographer as well if you would like. I hope you all have a great day. I love you. Bye.